They tried to deny us the portfolio review. Big internet conspired against me, but little did they know that I have the ultimate weapon in my arsenal: public library Wi-Fi. I'm Pete. This is the portfolio review. We're going to get ready for the Super Bowl today, looking at projections, looking at pick'ems, a little showdown, whatever we want to get into. Let's do it.
I suffer from a debilitating condition known as atrophic chokitis.
Peter's one of the greatest depositors I've ever seen.
Trust the process. Let's go. Let's go.
I got auto match with Levitan. This is bullshit.
If I just go the other way in that 66, I win all the money. All the money.
If I had 150 lineups, I'd win too.
Process over results.
Illuminati make a bitch go crazy. I don't know which one of these my baby. Bust out AP, close 5 bullets in your head like KD. Bust it, bitch go bust it. And I had 10 pints with me in Russia.
Hey everyone.
All right. Hey everyone. Indeed. You know, I've gotten so lucky. I'm back in the exact same conference room that I did ship chasing from on Thursday. There was like a wide internet outage in my area Thursday, but now it's just my Xfinity Comcast internet is just absolutely busto. It was up for 10 minutes, drops for 5, up for 10. So I'm going to try to get a technician out to the house, but I was like, you know what? I'm heading back to the library, and I got to give a huge shout out to the library. I mean, not only does this place allow me to check out books, yet they provide endless programming for my toddler. They provide an indoor play space during the winter when it's cold and we can't get outside because it's, 16 degrees. And they provide me this giant conference room here all to myself when my internet goes out and I say, I must do a show. I cannot cancel a show. So shout out to the libraries doing the Lord's work here. What's up, GMs? And sincere apologies for keeping everybody waiting, stringing it along. I was trying to see if I could get the internet fixed. I'm still talking to the Xfinity technicians here, trying to get them out to my house. So I'm a bit frazzled today, but the show must go on. The show must go on. But yeah, not really much to review from a portfolio perspective, but thought we could get ready for the Super Bowl a little bit. Look at some of the projections, start fiddling with our shell, so to speak, here. I am going to have a couple of shows later this week that will be Showdown focused. On Thursday, we're going to have lulls with Yuta, Ship My Money, and Brick. We'll do kind of a Showdown preview there. And then I'm going to do an After Dark with Cody Main on Thursday night as well. So we'll shoot the shit. It's kind of an annual tradition to have Cody on during Super Bowl week, talk Showdown, build a lineup or two, etc. So if you guys are YouTube members, you'll get access to that show with Cody on Thursday night. Also, I think what I'm going to do on Thursday is also do a Pick'em Bash. So best ball bash style, except there's nothing to draft. So a few of you guys hop on stream. I will float the entry fee for a pick'em, and you can get as wild as you want with it. And if it hits, we split the money. So those are some of the shows I have on tap this week, our final week of content with real football being played here. Unfortunately, the thing I'm most down bad about is I had my coffee all ready to go. And I was like, I had this moment of, I could try to pack a to-go mug, and I was just like, oh, fuck it. And then I also was like, I could stop and get a nice coffee. And I just decided I'm going to get to the library without my coffee. So I am coffeeless today. So no pour. We'll just have to imagine the pour here. GMs. Let's see if I can get my screen shared. I'm already tilting because I hate doing screen share on my laptop. It drives me crazy. You guys who have seen me do crams on the road are familiar with some of my tech difficulties trying to do stuff I'm used to doing on my big monitor. But one thing we should be marked safe from is searching Dylan Sampson Twitter news right now. We should be okay on that front. Oh, another programming note while I'm thinking of it. The Dog Bowl NBA slates this week are Tuesday and Thursday instead of Wednesday and Friday. And we are going to do Off and On the Clock Dog Bowl edition tomorrow, Tuesday. So there won't be a show Friday. I don't think I'm going to have any shows Friday, but we're going to do the Dog Bowl preview for the Tuesday slate tomorrow afternoon. So if you guys have been trying to chase those Dog Bowl qualifiers, we will have a show on the channel, and I'm sure the Badge Bros will have a show of their own on Thursday for that slate as well. All right, let me see here if I can get this screen shared, and I'm still struggling with that. We can't, I guess there's one portfolio thing that we can review, and that is my dead Gauntlet teams. As you guys remembered last week, potentially, or I guess it was 2 weeks ago, it was before the conference championship games. If I could have had the Los Angeles Rams win, I would have had a pretty fun portfolio here in the Gauntlet. That, however, did not happen. The opposite happened. The Seahawks won, which wiped out my entire portfolio. I still have 4 teams in the Gauntlet. I guess technically I have a couple of players that are active because I have a couple New England plays here. But as you can see, 4 teams all labeled dead. I have one team that has Ramondre and Booty on it. So I guess if those guys combine for 50 points, I mean, what do you even need to get to feel something here? Top 10, you get 6,000. Top 100, 2,500. I mean, sure. So we have a Ramondre and Booty team. We have a Ramondre and Hunter Henry team. And then I believe that's it. This was a Denver team. And what was this one? Oh, and then another Ramondre, a solo Ramondre. So that's what we have left. Ramondre Booty, Ramondre Henry, and just Ramondre. So that is going to be it for that. However, we can shout out, there was some conversation about this in the Discord and in the ship chasing Discord. Limehouse, who recently joined the Discord there, or at least the ship chasing corner of it, he has the most expected value in the Gauntlet. And I mentioned this on ship chasing on Thursday, where I'm like, this is such a blessing and a curse. Obviously, you want to be projected for the most points. I think any of us would be very excited to be sitting in the pole position, but just staring at expected value here. And I guess that it is good to stare at expected value instead of the actual winnings. You don't want to mentally cash a $500,000 check. It's even a little dangerous to mentally cash a $181,600 check here in EV, but this is the Limehouse squad. The presumptive favorite has both Darnold and May. So that's really nice to know whatever quarterback scores the most, you got that covered. Has both starting running backs, Ramondre and Ken Walker. So you're basically just fading, the Halani, Hendo, random spike. And then you have JSN, the best wide receiver in the game. And really the only piece that you don't have here that you'd really like would be Diggs, but he still has Henry, Booty, Douglas, all 3 of which I think in the aggregate are a favorite, one of those to outscore, Diggs potentially, just having 3 cracks at it. So this is just a completely monster team. I believe PD posted it in the Discord. This was drafted pretty early on. I think the contest had only been open for a couple of days when he was able to start CMC, JSN, Drake May in a very early draft. So I know we have lots of debates about drafting early, drafting late. In the case of this one, drafting early, certainly working to their favor to be able to get the JSN May, and then to have CMC as the advance rate piece, that helped because so many JSN teams got wiped out, not because of, or just because of the other round 1 picks, going off. Josh Allen had a big game, CMC, Puka. So it just made it really hard to advance JSN teams. But if you had CMC and JSN, it makes it a lot easier. So good luck to Limehouse and anyone else who is still alive in the Gauntlet. We can pull up some Splash here in a little bit. We got a Splash Tiers contest here for the Swolecast, and we can look at my dog shit one and done squad as well. Super Bowl live stream sweat, probably not. No. I won't even pretend to say maybe. I don't think so. I don't think so. Emo, what is up, dude? Yeah. GG's to Limehouse. Very fun team there. So yeah, I think that's it on the underdog front. One idea that I had, and maybe I should spin this up right now. We try to crowdsource some pick'em stuff that we like, and I generally try to pull from the chat here. I think I might do a form. Is that dumb? I thought it would be cool if I could get a bunch of suggestions in here as opposed to me just trying to, catch up on the chat here and figure it out. I might just make a very simple form here and have you guys toss in your favorite pick'em for the Super Bowl. And then we could build a few, from those suggestions. If that's dumb, feel free to just drop your suggestions in the chat. I was just trying to figure out how to formalize this a little bit more, and then maybe I could turn a couple of them into some polling here. So let me try to work on that here for a second. And then I should also mention, we obviously have a ton of promos going right now. So I used my reveal on a JSN. This is only a $10 max, but I have him at 1 receiving yard, which seems good. And then I believe there's going to be a bunch more boosts coming today and over the next few days as we lead up to the Super Bowl. So we could, get our pick'em house in order, wait for those boosts to come, and then, start firing on those. All right, let me get, I was going to try to get a poll, but let's see here. What do you guys think in the chat? 12 referrals, subtle flex. That is funny. Yeah, the back in the day, or I guess it's just if someone uses your actual underdog username, you get credit for a referral. And so I guess some people use my full Peter Overzet, and 12 referrals there. That's why they pay me the big bucks for sure. All right, I'm gonna bag the poll idea, or sorry, the form idea, but let me just start crowdsourcing from you guys. What are some of the things you guys like? I'll show you guys what we built on Off and On the Clock the other day, and some that I made. The first thing I started doing, I was using the boost builder, and I was just doing Sam Darnold and Drake May each throw an interception in this game. I was kind of in the haterade spirit there, so that was that. And then we used a 60% boost on, this was kind of our core that we liked. We did Cooper Kupp higher than 6.55 fantasy points. We did George Halani higher than 3.45 fantasy points. Drake May, 3.5 sacks taken. I think that was the Nez special there. And then we did a bomb here on Trevion Henderson, game high rushing yards. I think it was at like 12.4x. And then we did a Sam Darnold interception there. But some of the game high rushing yards and game high receiving yards are kind of fun to look at here. I'm curious what kind of it's even money on Darnold and May for game high passing yards, and then it's going to just be massive for JSN on receiving yards. Let's see, what's that showing? Game high receiving yards. Yeah, JSN 0.78. This would definitely be one to take a long shot on. I feel like the Shaheed one would be a good one. Like if JSN doesn't get there and Shaheed catches a bomb, Booty with that same logic would probably be good as well. Kayshon Booty 6.26. I guess Diggs at 3.46, but man, his ADOT has been so low lately that I don't think I would go with him. I think I'd do Shaheed or Booty if I tried to not eat the JSN chalk. And then what's the full rush spread here? Man, the search function has really been frustrating lately. Game high rush yard. So yeah, Walker's the 0.71x. Ramondre at 1.37. That actually seems decent there. I understand why Walker's the big favorite, but getting a good chunk of plus money on Ramondre. And then, the Henderson is way down. So Hopefully you guys tailed that one on Friday, because I believe we got it at like 12.4x, and now it's down to 8.63x there. Drake May also. And, Underdog doesn't have the stones to put Sam Darnold in the rushing conversation here. All right, let's see what my pick'em quant says here. Josh, May game high rushing yards, Booty plus Shaheed game high receiving yards, some long shots I like. Yeah, well, it looks like we just arrived at similar things there. May, what's May's rushing been here? May's rushing, he had 65 against Denver. He had 66 against Los Angeles. So, you probably need him in that range again. And then, Walker could definitely cool down. You need him to have like a game similar to what he had against the Rams, right? Where it's like 62 yards rushing against Carolina, 51. If he goes for 97, then the May stuff dead. And then Ramondre, going against a tough Seattle interior run defense, he's been at 70, 71. It's a tighter needle to thread. I don't mind that Drake May there. Let's see. What can you get if you play Drake May, game high receiving or rushing, and then you play Rashid game high receiving? Wow. Okay. There's just a fun little 136x there. Let's just put a little dabble on it. Just a little dabble. $5 pays 683. Why not? Live a little. I am gambling at the library. I just placed a pick 'em at the library. This is what the Lord intended when he created these public government funded spaces for education and learning, was for me to make pick-ems from a library conference room. There's one there. I do think we could look up and check out some of our projections and compare them a little bit. And then we could do some showdown stuff in a bit too. But the projections, man, I wrote about this in the Fantasy Life newsletter. To see the projections between Henderson and George Halani is really just it's a sobering thing to look at here. We'll see. So I'm looking at our half point PPR. Let me sign in here so we can see the full set. We have Drake May projected for 16.4 points, and we have Darnold at 14.7. Let's just go over here and just see how some of this stuff compares to our projections, see if there's anything we like. 18.85 fantasy points. So we like the lower for Drake May fantasy points. And what's the Darnold at? Darnold's at 16.45. We have it at 14.7. So we're definitely liking the lower on both of those there. It does. I know we all like betting hires for the Super Bowl. We want to root for a good game, but playing some haterade there with lowers on the quarterback certainly looks good. What about in the pass yardage? 222.5 for Drake May, 232.5 for Darnold, and we have it at 223 for Drake May, so that's right on the line, and Darnold 231. So we're like directly in line for passing yards there. I wonder if we're just lower on the touchdown there. We have Drake May at 1.3, Darnold at 1.5, and pass TDs. Yeah, the market has it slightly juiced higher for 1.5 TDs. And juice lower for Darnold. So I'm guessing that's where the projection dip comes from, is our projections not liking them for pass TDs quite as much. But then you can see there the interception there, 0.6 and 0.8 interception there. So I do like those for those two. And then rushing yards, what do we have? 28.6 for May. I do like, okay, so we have the lower as looking like a very strong bet for Drake May. I do think that might be the fun way to play the May rushing stuff, where it's like you're more polarized with it. Similar with the Henderson game high rushing, where you take the lower on the straight line, but then you capture the tail outcome with like game high rushing. But yeah, we have this number as very frothy at 37.5 there. And then Darnold, 5.5 rushing yards. The Pick'em lobby has him at 6.5. All right, let's see here. Let's see what we got on some of the other running back stuff and how that compares. Running back, fantasy points, Ken Walker at 17.3, Stevenson 14.1, and then you're down to Henderson 4.7 and Holani at 3.8. I do like the Holani stuff, just with how much they were willing to use him in that first game without Kenneth Walker. I thought was pretty encouraging. And I still think they don't want to give, Kenneth Walker, 30 touches. Like they're going to give somebody else some work, and they seem to trust Holani a good bit. Kenneth Walker rush yard in the lobbies at 74.5. We have him at 78.8. So a little bit of value there. What's his fantasy points? 16.25. So we are a little hotter on Ken Walker. So it's not like we're low on things across the board. It was more so just the quarterbacks there. Ramondre, 50.5 rushing yards. We have him for 58.9. So yeah, we like both the running backs in this one here. And let's see what 12.05 fantasy points for Ramondre. We have him at 14.1 there. I wonder if there's something we could do with that where we play like the Ramondre, play the running backs higher and the quarterbacks lower. Kind of lean into our projection gap there. Feel like that could be nice. Maybe I'll use my my JSN special on something like this. Gets me to a 20x there. Actually, no, I want to use my special on something more fun. If I'm going to be capped at 10, we might need to get a little more fun there. But yeah, I think that's, if you're starting to try to build out some cores and stuff that you could cycle, looks like our projections, like quarterback lowers, running back hires there. And then the Holani stuff, let's look at that again here. So it's at 10.5 rush yards, 10.5 receiving yards, which I think has come up. The fantasy points is still at 3.45. We have him at 3.8, rush yards 9.6. So that's kind of right in line there with the market. Receiving yards at 9.2. So yeah, that's kind of in line with the market there. And then what's his odds for a TD? 0.1. So yeah, that's more of a long shot at the 2.25 there. But I kind of like IK being the Holani stuff. The role was really good. 3 attempts, 3 receptions. I mean, if you're getting 6, if this guy gets 6 touches in the Super Bowl, I think he's going to clear 3.45 fantasy points there. Jack Westover, anytime TD. Jack Westover. What do they have that at? 14.4x. Incredible. Yeah, this does look like a dude who scores a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Let's see the rushing and receiving TDs just across the board here in this game. May, you're getting 1.56 for rushing. What do we have his odds for a TD at? Rushing TD 0.1. Okay, so we have that pretty low. But man, I do like leaning into the rushing stuff for May here. Seems like similar to Denver. He'll be scrambling a good bit here. JSN is even money on a TD. What do we have him projected for? 0.6. 0.6. Kenneth Walker is juiced lower, 0.71. Diggs at 1.47. Yeah, not a great likelihood to score. I think Ramondre at plus money for a touchdown looks pretty good to me. 1.09. We have him at, I guess, 0.5 for a rushing TD. I mean, one of Ramondre or Drake May is scoring a rushing TD here, right? I think that's probably my favorite one that I've seen so far. Cup at 1.51. How far off of that is the Diggs? Yeah, so you're getting slightly better odds than the Diggs one, but our projection has those guys fairly similar. Booty at 1.6 actually looks like one of the best for the wide receiver ones because we have him at 0.3, which is better odds than Diggs and Kupp in our projections for a touchdown, but you're getting him at 1.6 versus Diggs is 1.47 and Kupp is 1.51. So I do like that Booty TD as well. You guys are going to have to help me keep these straight when we actually go to build a few of these, but we're just in the research portion right now. The research portion. Kyle Williams touchdown seems like a fun way to lose money. Elijah Arroyo, only 3.69x. Come on. Come on. Now we have some defensive guys in here. All right. Yeah. What do we have for, what are the fantasy points for like Booty and Collins? I'm curious on these guys. Booty fantasy point 6.05. Booty's always fun to play like longest reception as well. What can you slide him to? Yeah, like you can kind of basically decide between Booty because the odds for a touchdown are 1.6. So you're like, what do you like better? Him to score, or you can just slide him to longest reception at 29.5. Obviously, you could get a score that's less than 30 yards, and that would be your out there. But I kind of like playing Booty through that way. I think the stuff with Hollins is fairly similar if you want to play that angle. Hollins has his fantasy point is like a point less in here. Receiving yards, like what, 5 yards less. Longest reception. If you slide him to a 29.5, you get like a 2.39x. I like betting Hollins stuff. I mean, anytime he's on the field, he's earning targets. I mean, even in that snow game, he's 2 for 51. The games previously, he's 8 targets. He's 9 targets. I honestly think Mac Hollins 4.5 targets might be at plus money. Looks really nice to me. We need to, I need to get the idea. Let me get the idea jar going in here. We're going to get Mac Hollins in there. Let's get Booty longest reception. And then I'll see what you guys like the most of these. Josh, is there anything else you like other than those game high? Drake May rushing and Shaheed receiving. What's the Shaheed longest reception? I mean, he's a good one to just play on a single catch as opposed to anything with volume. His fantasy point prop is 4.65. That is kind of nice, though. You get the out of the special teams touchdown if you play the if you play it that way. Yeah, because he had the 8.7 fantasy points on no catches and 2 rushing attempts there. So Shaheed fantasy points honestly looks pretty good as well. And then you can always play his longest reception. I mean, you can slide Shaheed up to what? He's going to have a 40-yard reception. Play that at 39.5. That doesn't look bad. Josh likes the Holani stuff and don't mind Shaheed rush yards. Yeah, let me see here. Yeah, rush yards is interesting. How much? Because it was last week. So yeah, the 2 playoff games, they are trying to get him a touch. 2 for 27 versus San Francisco. One attempt versus the Rams that didn't go anywhere. But yeah, 4.5 rush yards. That does look nice. That does look nice. The Holani, I got to get that one in the idea box there as well. Get that 3.45. Did I already add that? Oh, they're capping me out. I have too many things in my idea box now. Too many things. Do we have any defensive ball knowers? Do we have anything anyone likes on the defensive side? I know we all have to wait for the Sammy Reed IDP prop of the Super Bowl there. I actually think it might have been Friedman. I think we have a props article up on the site now here too. Let's see. Someone do this. Let's see. Let's look at our player prop tool here and seeing what we like. These are the DraftKings odds here. Yeah, so I knew we were going to like that. The lowers on Drake May rushing yards. We like Jake Bobo over receiving yards. What's Bobo at? Bobo for 1 catch. Yeah, so he's at 0.5 reception. So if you just play Jake Bobo 1 reception, that's actually kind of fun. He's had in both playoff games, he's had 1 reception. So you can get Jake Bobo. I think that's probably the way to play this Seattle stuff is you play like just the 1 reception stuff or like the 1 play stuff for Shaheed, for Bobo, for Holani. You're not going to get a lot of volume, but these guys are getting like their clear, scripted play, scripted target per game. Ramondre, we like the over rushing yards. Yeah, we looked at that. Same for Kenneth Walker. We do like the Booty over receiving yards at 31.5. We have him for 35.6. Douglas, we like over. Let me build one here that's kind of a core based on some of these that look the best to me. You probably don't want to do the Booty targets, the Booty receiving stuff right alongside Matt Collins because that's probably slightly inversely correlated there. But let's put together a few with our highest projecting values on Fantasy Life. Let's do the haterade. I don't love this one just because it scares me because of Drake May's rushing, but let's play him lower. We'll do a hater one here, or actually not a hater. We're just going to do the best values. Jake Bobo. We'll play Bobo 1 catch. And Ramondre higher. That actually dovetails well. Like if Ramondre is having success rushing, then maybe May isn't scrambling or doing as many designed rushes. This one looks nice. These are our top 3 values. This is on DraftKings, but obviously these numbers are the same. 37.5 there, reception, and then Ramondre 49.5. So yeah, these are close enough here. All right, I'm gonna lock this one in. If you guys want to tail. Josh Barner, anytime TD or over 0.5 rush yards for the tush push. That's good. Kyle Williams versus Kenneth Walker receiving yards. Do we have rivals up? I feel like I haven't seen rivals on the site in ages. Do we have Super Bowl rivals? Do we have any other fun specials here? We have the game high stuff that we already looked at. I assume as the week kind of progresses, we'll get some more. Let's build something with my JSN. What's a good kind of long shot bomb to get this up here? I don't know if you guys have done your deal reveal yet, but they max you out at $10 on this one. So let's make this good. What's a good slide here along with JSN that we liked? The booty stuff seems like a decent slide. 31.5. Let's slide Booty up receiving yards. Doesn't it feel like a 60-yard Kayshon Booty game? So that gets you up to 5.64. And then we could do something with Shaheed. Kind of just play this as like the explosives are actually hitting. Shaheed has 50 yards. This isn't too bad to use our JSN special here. JSN, that's the freebie. Booty gets to 60 and Shaheed gets to 50 for a 26xer. This seems good. Wait, they're not going to let me do this? 1 promo per entry. What are you talking about? Oh, I think I have to do the promo last, is it? Now what's the error? Come on. Just let a man gamble from the library, please. What am I doing wrong? Why won't it let me do this? Let's try again. It's not, this promo isn't available for this pick. They're not going to let me do it. Okay. It's going to let me do those two. Is it something because it's like showing JSN and Shahid as being correlated in a way that they're not going to let me do it? Okay, no. It won't. Why won't it let me do this? Come on. Unbelievable. Let me try it from it. Let me try something else with booty. Maybe I'll try longest reception. Wow. What am I doing wrong, guys? Why can't I get this to work? 115 people watching me in a library, not be able to submit a pick'em. What a world. What a world. There's something with these two that it just does not like together, and I can't really make heads or tails of why. All right. I'm too frustrated. I'm too frustrated. We're moving on. We'll find something else to use the JSN pick for. All right, let's put a couple of these other ones together, and then we can look at some Showdown stuff. I wanted to look at that. What do we like? Barner, anytime TD at 1.44. All right, Barner scores a TD. Will they let me use JSN on this one? All right, let's see if they'll let me use this. Now let me see if I can do the booty thing. Come on. All right, this is unbelievable. All right, I'm trying one last time, and then I swear I am done. Okay, are we close? All right, so they just won't let me, they won't let me do a slide opposite the JSN. So that's what they're scared about. They're not, so we have to do another like touchdown thing here. We have to do a touchdown thing. Let's just do the booty TD. They're not going to let us do a slide. All right. It is what it is. All right. Barner, anytime TD, and booty TD. And that's how we're going to use our special. They're not letting us slide it. They're scared. They're scared of what we're going to do. Pete, thanks for another great season. Hey, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. By the way, if you guys missed it, I did the 2026 resolutions / goals / habits, things we want to do differently. I did that show with Davis last week. Got lots of good feedback on that one. And I also wrote them up in my newsletter. I'll drop the link to this in the chat. Would love if you guys subscribe to this free newsletter. I do this in my personal newsletter. I drop it in your inbox every Saturday morning, and I kind of ran down the things I want to do differently this year, some of my goals and my plan of attack for doing it. So if you guys want to check that out, I enjoyed getting all the comments from you guys about things you're going to do differently this year, some of your guys' suggestions, all that good stuff there. Brady says, can't wait for you to turn into the Calcutta persona that now that the NFL is over. There you go. We are getting close to Calcutta season. Speaking of which, we should go check out over on Splash. We asked Splash if we could get a tiers contest for the Super Bowl. And we also said, hey, instead of just having one big fourth tier, were 5th tier. We asked if they could split these tiers up so that we had an additional tier. So this is actually my first time seeing what they ended up putting up in these tiers. I'm going to drop this link in the chat. I am going to be maxing this one. It's 445 entries. It's $25. And I think this will be a pretty fun contest. And they gave us some nice guarantees. So first place, 1,500, second place, 1,200, third, 1,000. So some nice prizes relative to the size of the contest here. And let's go through and see what the tiers are, and we can look at some projections while we do it. So tier 1, we have JSN, Drake May, and Kenneth Walker. Oh, I meant to drop the link in the chat. Did I do that? Let me get the link. Let's try that. Okay. Back to my entries. So from a strict fantasy point projection, let's try to identify the best play and then what we think most people are going to do. I assume JSN is going to be the chalk here. I guess JSN and Walker could be really close. If we look at our projections here, we have JSN at 19.1, Walker at 17.3, and Drake May at 16.4. So picking JSN or Walker is probably the play. I'm guessing JSN is going to be the most popular. Do you guys agree with that? Like, if I just did not think about ownership whatsoever, I think I'd want to click JSN here. So let's do Walker for that. Then we get Darnold, Stevenson, Diggs. My guess is that people do a lot of Darnold to JSN stacks, would just be my guess. We have Stevenson at 14.1, Diggs at 10.4. Diggs is definitely the worst pick in this tier. And so then it's kind of like Stevenson versus Darnold, and they actually project really similarly. So I do think if you go JSN, I like the idea of pairing him with Darnold. But for this one, I'm going to do both running backs. So we'll go Ken Walker and Ramondre. Then this tier, we have Hunter Henry, Barner, and Kupp. Hunter Henry, Barner, and Kupp. So we have Henry for 8.5. We have Barner for 7.6 and Kupp for 7.4. I think Henry is probably going to be the comfiest click, followed by Kupp, and then Barner's probably your contrarian piece. If you're not using JSN and JSN doesn't get there, I kind of like the idea of swinging back over to Kupp and saying, hey, maybe Kupp goes 6 for 65 and JSN gets outscored by Walker or May. Henry, to me, seems like a pretty fragile pick, as does Barner. Let's go Kupp here. Then we have the all explosives tier. Tier 4 is Booty, Shaheed, Hollins. And this is the fun tier because you have Booty, who's going to project the best at 8.2, but then Hollins at 5.7 and Shaheed at 5.5. I think this is the tier to get contrarian. I'm guessing most people are going to click Booty. Booty feels like the best combination of target floor with ceiling, but I'm gonna do a little Mac Hollins pivot here. Maybe people are scared of the Q tag. I think Mac Hollins is going to earn a decent amount of targets there. And now we enter the gross 5th tier. Is this our final tier? Yeah. So this one has Henderson, Holani, Douglas, Hooper, Bobo, Kyle Williams, Eric Saber, Derek Young, and Nate Collerup. I don't even know if that's his first name. I'm just going to assume N stands for Nate. Yeah, so what do we do with this tier? Projection-wise, it's Henderson, then Holani, then Douglas, then Hooper. So yeah, we kind of have it just in the same projection order as Splash here. I think Henderson has the highest ceiling. Holani probably has the highest floor of these guys. And then this is probably like, if you're going to do multiple entries here, this is where you kind of get into the Hooper, Bobo, Kyle Williams stuff. I don't think you mess with this bottom row here. But yeah, I would guess Henderson, most popular. It's probably going to be in descending order here. Henderson, Holani, Douglas Hooper, Bobo, Kyle Williams. So it's just how contrarian you want to get. You could play the Hooper TD on teams where you don't have Hunter Henry. That makes sense to me. I'm going to just play Holani here. We'll play both running backs from Seattle. I actually don't mind that correlation. So we're going to go Walker, Stevenson, Kupp, Hollins, Holani here. I'm going to do another one on stream here just to see a different way we could go. So if you go the JSN route, then you can play the Darnold stack with it. And if you go the Darnold stack, you might as well toss on one of Barner or Kupp. Let's play this one as Darnold hits, and it's through big plays to JSN and a touchdown to Barner. The other thing you can do in this contest, similar to what played out in the conference championship, I think you can just onslaught a team. I think you could just toss in Shaheed. Like, if you're already just going all in on Darnold, like, why don't we just play this as a huge Seattle route? I'm actually curious. I've never seen with Splash, will they let you select all players from one team? Okay, yeah. So they are going to make you pick one player from an opposing team. So we can pick our New England player at the end. This team is already probably fairly unique with a 4 Seattle onslaught. So let's just play Hendo here. So we'll go Darnold to Barner, Shaheed, and JSN, and we'll play Henderson there. That's kind of a fun build. So make sure you guys hop in this with us. We do have the guarantee on this one, 10K, the big game tiers. So you can join us in that. And yeah, we've been talking to Splash. I think we're going to have a couple other things, obviously, for March Madness, maybe some golf stuff. But yes, I did promise Crutches I would look at my one and done here. Let's see. So the Sony Open, we did Ben Griffin. That didn't go well. Then we did Poston. That didn't go well. And then this week I have Keegan Bradley, which didn't go well either. So who's shipping this right now? Slick Cowboy. What did they do? Got her up. Scheffler. And then Cantlay. Cantlay missed the cut. Oh, but this guy's still in first just because of how the those first ones went. And then Esmeralda, there's an underdog name. They also had a cut this week. All right. All right. What's our next event here? Our next event is we got Waste Management. Okay. Very nice. Also, if you guys missed it on Swolecast, they do have squares going, and it's a free roll here. They just keep creating more grids once these fill. So make sure you get in the Sal's Super Squares over there. I'll drop the link to that in the chat. That's just a free roll, so no reason not to get in that one. Should we look at some Showdown stuff? Like I said, I'm going to be doing a couple of shows this week. Both of them are going to be Thursday. I'm also going to do an article on FantasyLife for Showdown. So I'm going to be in the lab doing some research here. I know Cody's already been doing a little bit of research as well. Let me pull up some of Cody's tweets here. Or we could just read Peter Attia's public apology that I just saw at the top of my my timeline here. All right, let's see what's Cody been looking at. How hard is it to find low dupe lineups in the DraftKings Lotto style Super Bowl contest here? All right. What can we make of this? Looking at different roster constructions, obviously the 3 3s, 4 2s, 2 4s are the most popular. 1 and 5, 5 and 1, the least popular. Captain position, the favorite quarterback is the most popular. So Darnold, I don't know if Darnold though is going to be the most popular here. I'll pull up the solver too, so we can, and we'll look at Run the Sims and see what kind of early ownership they have. Actually, let's go to the optimizer because that'll be a little easier to look at for ownership. Week 4. Why does it say week 4 on here? All right, maybe I'll just go back to SimRunner. Guess it doesn't matter. I can look at it here. Okay, they don't have ownership in yet, so we'll look at what ETR has here. So for captain ownership, they have it May, then JSN, Walker, Diggs, Ramondre, Darnold. That like immediately kind of jumps out to me of if generally the most popular play is the quarterback on the favorite. It's interesting how low owned that's going to be relatively. And I get it. I mean, the Darnold lack of rushing there makes him less compelling, but it's also not hard to see a spread out game. Kind of like the lineup we just built on Splash, where you get a little JSN, little Shaheed, little Barner or Cup. What else am I looking at here? The average salary, 49,000, average ownership, 207%, average captain owned, 10.8%. There are 264,705 entries in the $20 buy-in this year. Of the 190,868 different lineups submitted in those contests, 73.8% were duped 5 times or less. 82.7% were duped 10 times or less. Not bad. Of those 190,000, 8,000 were duped at least 50 times, making up is that right? 1 million of the total 2 million lineups. Wait, that can't be right. 4.4% of the lineups made up 54.6% of the total entries in these contests. So yeah, step 1, avoiding the mega dupes. Here's what lineups that are duped at least 50 times in this contest look like. So they use most of the salary. They're using quarterback favorite in the captain position, 3 3s, 4 2s. Step 2, pull a few more uniqueness levers than you might on a regular season showdown slate. Here's what lineups that are duped 5 times or fewer look like. So yeah, way more spread out in the captain position, way more 2-4 and 4-2 than the 3 3s, or at least combined. Leaving a lot of salary on the table. So these are at 47,000 compared to like 49.6. So almost 2,000 more salary left on the table there for the unique ones. Let's see what just the optimal is right now. Oh yeah, they're gonna make me. Let me adjust Nick Colorup's projection. Or Robbie Oots. All right. Guess what? You now project for 0.19. Same for you, Bradley Russell. All right. Let's see what the optimal is right now. So the optimal lineup, JSN captain, Drake May, Walker, Stevenson, Halani, and Eric Saber. I don't think that will actually be a chalk team just because Eric Saber is going to project for very little ownership, but the second one looks like something I could see duped a lot. JSN captain, May, Walker, Cup, Mac Hollins, George Halani. So you lose Stevenson in this one, but then you're able to get you're basically able to get up from Saber to Cooper Cup. So it's like a 2v2 Cup Hollins versus Ramondre in Saber. Yeah. The most popular flex projections we're looking at Drake May, JSN Walker, Darnold, Stevenson, Diggs, Cup, Henry. And then you start to get into the kickers here. Borregales at 27%, Myers at 21%. Let's see here. I'm curious, kind of like, I'm just going to make a bunch of lineups here and just see what kind of stuff is stimming well. I'm going to do the same over on Run the Sims, and we can kind of compare. Yeah, let's do a big. We'll go for like the big lotto style stuff here. Top heavy, 15K plus. What do you got? What kind of contests are you guys going to play? Are you guys going to be dabbling in the showdown streets? All right, they're going to make me Let's see. Also, I just realized I was communicating with tech support for my internet and then started doing the show and forgot to check in on it. All right. I am so fed up with internet issues. Yeah, I'm just wanting to see what contests we have here. This is your first look. Mine too. Mine too. So contest, we got multiple $1 million contests. We have the $20 with 264,000 entries there with $1 million up top, and then there's the big boy $4,444 entry with $1 million up top, but only 750 entries there. We call that the Utah contest. There's also a Wildcat, $333 with 3K entries. And then we have just so much in here, man. The play action, the $3 is massive, 317 entries. Chain mover looks decent, $10 with $100,000 top prize. I'm trying to think what would be a good sweet spot if you were trying to do a little MME action there. Let me sort by total prize, see what else is up here. Yeah, that chain mover looks good to me. You have the flea flicker. That's a bigger 118,000, but still has that $100,000 top prize. They have the typical power sweep game changer. What's this one? $60. No $60 single entry. That's kind of fun. 50K up top, $60. That one looks nice. All right, let's see. I'm running the sims on this one. Let me sim these as well, and we can kind of compare what type of lineups are. Oh, they might not have the simulator going yet. Oh yeah, simulators are loaded noon Eastern on Thursday. So that'll be available when I do the show with Cody on Thursday night. We'll actually be able to sim some stuff. But for sim now, we can look at Run the Sims here. We're getting a fairly good amount of variety with the captains: Kenneth Walker, May, Walker, Diggs, Henry, JSN, Walker, JSN, Walker, JSN, JSN. So yeah, pretty concentrated on the Seattle type top guys, some Drake May, and then I'm surprised there's not a lot of Ramondre. I don't see any Ramondre in here, which is kind of interesting. This main build type here. Oh, this is kind of a fun one. Like, I like the story this top one tells. You play just Kenneth Walker in Seattle defense, and then you basically play a negative game script from the Patriots with May, Henry, Hollins, Diggs, and nothing on the ground. That one is pretty nice there. That one leaves 700 on the table. Projected dupes at 8.88. Drake May, Henry, Hollins, Diggs. So yeah, the Run the Sims projections right now seem to really like Mac Hollins. They like Hunter Henry a good bit. Those guys showing up in a bunch of these. We could do some advanced filters and limit the amount of dupes if we wanted. Let's look at just the plus EV players. Geez, yeah. So it's gonna want you to get into the tight end shitters: Bradley Russell, Nick Collerup, Bobo, Derek Young. There's your Jack Westover again. So yeah, you can print your Skolanskis with these guys here. Minus EV players. It doesn't like Saber, Mac Hollins, Barner, Douglas, so I guess if there's a theme there, it's like, if you're going to get thin with some of these guys, like, might as well get really thin, because at least when this hits, so few people have them, would just be my reading of it. Let's see, captain. Yeah, there's no ownership in here yet. So not seeing any, specific leverage there. But captain exposure, Kenneth Walker at 20%, JSN at 20% there. And if we compare that to ownership, that's pretty right in line with ETR's projected there. Let's see. I guess the big fade relative to this would be Drake May. Run the Sims has him at about 12.9% optimal captain, and seeing it here as 28%. Ramondre to me strikes me as a good captain. Yeah, 7% projected ownership. You kind of leverage off of the May chalk, and he's coming in at 9.4% there. Yeah, so their highest, it goes Walker, JSN, then May, Stevenson, Diggs. And projected ownership right now is May, JSN, Walker. I also think, do they have any love for Darnold here? Oh, wow. Wait, where's Darnold? Oh, Darnold only at 4%. I think the thing that's interesting about the Darnold is just he's probably going to be used a ton in the flex. Like, people are going to play Darnold. You see here, he's going to be the 4th most popular flex, but he's only going to be 6th most popular captain. And I wonder if it's even a little lower than that, but I kind of like the idea of a little Sam Darnold captain here. Let's see what some of the best Darnold lineups look like, if anything. So you have a Darnold, and it looks like it likes Darnold in the onslaughts. Darnold, Barner, JSN, Walker, Seattle. You bring back Douglas, same lineup, but bring it back with Hooper, and you have Cup instead of who? Walker, or no? Oh, Cup instead of Seattle defense. It does make sense that it likes Darnold in these mega onslaught builds, because then he's going to bring along a few pass catchers. It really likes the Seattle defense too. Darnold with defense there. Let's build a lineup here. We'll get one in here to get the juices flowing. I like the Darnold captain stuff. Which one of these do we like the most? You go Darnold. I think you got to include JSN. I guess you don't have to. And I do kind of like the idea of the Seattle D in there. It feels a little counterintuitive. Darnold with Seahawks D, if that's like limiting play volume for them. But I think in Seattle demolitions, it's also not hard to see how they could have success through the passing game, and then also through the defense. This really likes Barner. Barner with Darnold also makes sense to me, just in that if Barner is getting there, it's probably through a touchdown. So might as well correlate those two together. And then you can kind of mess around with the 2v2s down here. I did like the stuff with Hollins. He's probably one of my favorite cheap guys. And that leaves you 9,400. Man, that puts you just shy of 400 from Walker. I guess, though, that is probably the way to play that, right? Like, what if you play this as Helani and then you leave a good chunk of salary on the table? Like you go Diggs or something. You go Diggs, Henry, and you leave 2K on the table there. How much are these Darnold lineups leaving? See, yeah, these are using a good amount of salary. I'm just thinking that in this huge lotto here, and these projected dupes, I mean, I think I maxed out the settings at 15K size field, and this is like 20 times that, 264,000. So leaving more salary on the table makes sense. I kind of like this. So you fade Walker, you go down to Helani, you play Diggs as the one piece, and you leave 2K on the table. I'll torch $20 with that. Why not? Why not? All right. There we go there. So yeah, I'm going to have fun digging into this stuff later this week. Just thought I'd do a little first look here as well before we sign off. And like I said, Thursday, I'll have those two shows, a Run the Sim show at noon Eastern. That's actually going to be earlier. I think Yuta said he's in Asia right now. Yuta traveling the world. So we're going to accommodate him at noon Eastern on Thursday. And then I'll have After Dark on Thursday evening with Cody Main. That'll be at 8 Eastern. And that'll be nice because the Solver Sims will be up then. So we can talk through stuff and run some stuff through their Sims as well. All right. Let's see here. All right, guys. I appreciate you hanging with me through the delays and, traveling to the library, all of that good stuff. I mentioned the full schedule for this week. Tomorrow we'll have Swolecast, and I think we might have a special guest returning. That's all I'll say. No David Kitchen, I believe, because he's going to be on Radio Row, but we might have a very special guest for the Swolecast. Then we'll have Off and On the Clock tomorrow afternoon. I need to touch base with John and Nez, probably 1 or 2 p.m. Eastern. We'll do the Dog Bowl preview there. And then Wednesday, no shows Wednesday. And then Thursday, we will have a couple of those shows. 3 shows Thursday. So we'll have Run the Sims, Super Bowl Showdown preview with Yuta, Shit My Money, and Brick. We will have a Pick'em Bash. I think that'll probably be at like 1:15 or whenever the Showdown show ends. So if you guys want to hop on, your YouTube members, hop on with me, and we will build some Pick'ems with your vision, and I will float the bill and we'll split any of the profits. And then Thursday night After Dark. So that is going to be the schedule for this week. Yes, if I win $1 million with a lineup that was made in a public library, I should see if I could get them to rename this conference room. This conference room, they said, is the Pinnacle Room. Can we make it the Peter Overzet Showdown Memorial Room? If we win $1 million with a lineup that was built in here, I'll do it. Mr. Tuttle 05. Miles. Seems like a very good guess. A very good guess indeed. All right. Appreciate all you guys. I'm going to get back to arguing with my internet provider. Have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you guys on the various shows. Peace.